So my name is Maria Coulter from Construction Coach, and what I do in the industry is coaching and training, and from the industry, so I'm a chartered quantity surveyor by profession, etc. And myself and Catherine have met at a few conferences recently, and we've heard a lot of people talking about the skills shortages, skills gap, etc. So that's why we're wanting to BetheAction, to actually showcase what lots of people are doing and to start joining the dots together. So thank you so much for being early adapters or early adopters, and I hope we don't sound like Daleks, as Clifford said. And so, yeah, thank you very much. And there may be a slight delay when we're sort of passing from presenter to presenter. We could pretend that we're in Australia at the moment and you know, be sort of like they are on the television, but we're not. But so one of the lovely people that I've met at the various different conferences is Rebecca Lovelace, and that was why we wanted to get her on and for her to be our first guest this morning. So she's involved with a fantastic project called BuildForce, which is getting ready to launch soon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to Rebecca, and I'm going to ask Rebecca to introduce herself so that you know a bit about her, and also just to start talking about BuildForce and what it's all about.
Maria, thank you. And thank you also to both you and to Catherine for inviting me. And a big hats off, a big well done for seizing this initiative and getting cracking with this. I'm really, really pleased and happy, and this is great to be involved. And Catherine, you're also doing this on Twitter whilst you're managing the tech. You guys are impressive. So a little bit about me. I've actually felt always fairly fraudulent within the construction industry, because I joined rather unintentionally. My background is homelessness and international humanitarian aid, and I ended up working on a short-term opportunity with Lend-Lease, which was looking after a European Community Day event, which then led to a London role doing what I call strategic employment and skills. And I did that for 7 years, and this is all about recognising that there are people that want jobs and there are employers seeking workers, but the connectivity between the two isn't as fabulous as it could be. So I spent a lot of time connecting with the job centres, with the supply chains, with the cottages, and trying to join the dots up, which is, I think, one of my mantras. And I set up my own business coming up now to 7 years ago, which is all very much focused on that joining the dots up and that strategic way of working around the employment and skills arena, very much within construction. And for me, I think BuildForce probably started a long time ago, because it's about people that we need in an industry needing people. So I'll just explain a little bit about the BuildForce story, a bit about the background, how we've got to where we are today, and passing back to Maria for some further questions, but I will, a little bit down the line, talk about what you can see on the screen, which is the BuildForce Industry Information Pack. So BuildForce, checking my emails recently, actually began back in 2011, and that's my involvement with it, in that part of the remit of BuildForce is connecting all the activity that happens already. There was an early conversation with Gary Sullivan. Gary is the chairman of Wilson James. He's also a colonel within the Staff Corps of the Army, director of the Logistics Advisory Group. And the conversation with Gary was, this is crazy. There are people coming out from a really cracking talent pool and an industry that needs people. And there are organisations, there are businesses, SideSite, Carillion, and Skanska, the big businesses that do work and already do some really fantastic activities around working with the ex-military networks and using that to get people into employment. But it doesn't happen in a joined-up way across the industry, and I suspect it isn't particularly easy for the smaller businesses. And Gary was in conversation with Malcolm Bairstow, who's a global partner at what was Ernst & Young and is now EY. And from that early conversation, we spoke with Constructing Excellence, we spoke with CITB, we secured some funding to carry out some research. We absolutely committed from day one that this about reinventing the wheel. This is about adding value to existing initiatives and connecting opportunities. And from that, we created a steering group, which is the same steering group that BuildForce has now. And that steering group is composed of Wilson James, Crossrail, Carillion, Morgan Sindall, Lend-Lease, and EY. So again, it is the big names and the big companies that is what has driven us to where we are today, which I'll very happily continue talking about, but I probably should pause and let Maria ask a question.
Earlier again. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what exactly it is. So is it an IT system? Is what the platform is? How do people get involved? And I know that you've got a launch coming up as well. So I think it would be interesting to know exactly how it's going to work, how people get involved. And also you've said about the fact that you want to sort of make it sustainable. So how does the industry get on board with it, basically?
Thanks, Maria. Really good questions. And I think probably the absolute immediate answer is that this has to be led by industry. It has to be working incredibly closely with military networks and the ex-military networks to create a platform, a program that works on a number of levels for a variety of people, organizations, companies. What I'll just quickly pop back to is we did a pilot, which was 2014-2015, and this was with Construction Youth Trust, providing a brokerage service, which was about connecting those leaving the forces into work placements. So a lot of lessons learned, a lot of understanding of where to go next. And this has led to BuildForce as it is now. So we've secured funding from CITB for the remainder of this year. We've been operating just for the past few months, very much focused on developing the processes, developing the partnerships, and ensuring that we will be able to have a seamless creation or just rather seamless opportunity for not just those leaving the forces, but those within their 2-year resettlement phase, but also for veterans. So I think if you'll all happily bear with me, I will talk through the BuildForce industry pack, which you should all be seeing on our screens. So the idea behind BuildForce is 2 key elements. The first is promoting construction across the forces. So this is those who are serving, this is those who have left, this is working with the MOD, working with the resettlement officers across with a tri-service approach, working also with the Career Transition Partnership, which is the MOD's official resettlement body, and also working with service charities and organisations, so a very broad reach into the military community. And what we recognise is that many service leavers don't actually consider construction as a career of choice. And there's obviously a whole conversation about the image of the industry. But I've spoken to a fair number of people who said, I'm coming out, I want to go into project management, I'll probably look at IT. And they wouldn't think about project management in construction. So there's a real drive to capture information about the industry, package it up to give it a military focus, and push this out across the forces through many channels. The second key focus of BuildForce is around connectivity. It's connecting those who are seeking assistance with those who may have served, may not, but are working in the industry and can open doors. So I'll just talk through, partly because there's some nice graphics, which makes it far more interesting than just listening to my voice. And you can just see that what we're talking about, we're connecting service leavers and veterans to construction careers. We, obviously this information will be available to be shared through the podcast, and however it gets packaged up by the clever Catherine and Maria. But I think what's important to say is that we are looking to the veteran community and to those coming out. It's also about planting a seed So somebody that might not be leaving for 5, 10 years could just start hearing a bit more about construction, being a little bit more aware of what's going on. So we've got a clear aim about inspiring, engaging, and to pursue careers and actually access those careers, but for it to be very, very targeted. So we are in conversation, we've taken what we're calling a sectoral segmentation approach, which I always feel very impressive saying. And this is a conversation with the likes of BuildUK, Seeker, FMB, HBF, DIC, and I hope that's not too many acronyms, but I'm conscious that I could talk for a long time, so please do come back if we need to explain that. But this is trying to break down the industry to then understand the key areas of skill shortage. So, for example, we keep saying carpenters and bricklayers, and how can we then focus that information and push this out? So how it works is obviously a key question, because I know you're all going to be signing up at the end of this call. We have a charter, and the charter will over time be aligning with the existing Armed Forces Covenant. And this is designed for employers, for companies, for organisations to say, actually, we commit to being part of BuildForce, to working to achieve these shared objectives together. And what we've done is we've broken down the roles, the opportunities, into 3 key roles. So I'll just talk through what they look like. The first one is the BuildForce ambassador. So this is the senior level individuals within the organisation. And I think it's really important to reinforce that for all the small businesses, so this isn't just the clients and the major contractors, that the smaller businesses, it could be one person doing all of these roles. We don't want it to be onerous. We don't want it to be problematic in terms of reporting requirements. But this is about having an individual who will promote BuildForce within the supply chain, within peers, within networks and open doors. So getting the message out. BuildForce is UK-wide and it's across the industry. And we're talking construction in its broadest sense, involving all elements of the industry. The next role is the champion. And the BuildForce champion, there could be one or more champions, and the champions will very much be the individuals who will liaise with BuildForce, but also ensure that the message is then being pushed out throughout the business, and ensuring that there are individuals putting up their hands saying, I would like to offer support, advice, guidance to somebody coming out of the forces or somebody who has served. So we have got a little bit of a job description for the champions, which I think you can probably all read in front of you, and I'll whiz on to what the mentors do. We've had some conversation, is this the right language, calling somebody a mentor? Because we don't want it to be something that is onerous, but it is an individual who very simply says, I would like to assist. So the example we give, and I tend to make this up on the spot and invariably forget what I'm saying, we might have John in Colchester. John's coming out in 8 months, and John knows that he wants to move to Manchester, got a bit of experience in dry lining, and would quite like to go to dry lining. What does John do? John, and I'll come on to the connectivity, but John, through BuildForce, will be able to access resources, so case studies of others who might have made a similar journey, some advice and guidance and connectivity training. But John will be connected, let's say, to Sheila. Sheila works in Manchester. Sheila has a dry lining company. Sheila used to also serve, and she makes herself available for a conversation with John. Now, the absolute ideal is John and Sheila have a conversation, and from that conversation, they might then John might have the offer to go and have a site visit, a work placement, ideally a job. That's really what we're looking for, is that connectivity into employment. And certainly what we're hearing from employers is there's a real desire for BuildForce to assist with recruitment. So we have the 3 roles. I've mentioned the steering group. And what we're also growing is the advisory group, and we haven't quite worked out what this looks like, but it's a series, a network of groups across the country that will help shape and grow BuildForce and keep everybody talking. And I'll just finish off with just so you can see who's joined. So we've got some early signatories to the charter. This is growing, and it's quite a simple process of signing the charter, which I'll take you on to. Here's the charter, returning the charter, naming your BuildForce team, letting us understand where you are as a business and what your business area is, and also the skills of the mentors. And then it's over us to do that connectivity, which I'm sure will be a question from Maria. And I haven't even talked about the launch or how to get involved, but I'll pause for breath. If there's nothing else, it's a bit more polite.
One of my questions is about how does the platform work? So if you've got, you said John or whatever, in they're coming out of the armed forces, they want to get into construction, and you said about putting people together. How does it all work? And I suppose the question is this just a London-based platform at the moment, or is this a national platform? Somebody was asking whether or not it's in Wales as well. I'm having difficulty hearing at the moment, so I'm asking that question. And also, I think you've answered the other question, which was, is it just the larger companies who can sign up? It sounds like anybody can. But what I would like to understand is the technology side of things. So how does that person who wants to get into construction get into contact with that person? How does it all sort of connect together, basically? So I'll pass back to you now to answer that question, Rebecca.
Yes, thank you, Maria. And what I've actually done, I pulled up the website just while I'm talking. Absolutely, it's for everybody. And one of our challenges is reaching out to everybody. It is across the UK, so it's a yes to Wales, absolutely. And where we need assistance now is driving BuildForce. So when we get that request, as we did in BuildForce 1, there's somebody who actually was moving to very, very North Scotland and wanted a rather detailed, had a very detailed job spec. We want to be able to actually make that connectivity. So yes, it's across the UK. Yes, it's for any construction employers that would like to get involved, and anybody who is serving and coming out of the forces or who has served. The launch, so we have a go live event which is taking place on the 31st of January. It's at the Tower of London, and we've secured the Minister for Employment who will be speaking. We also have Mark Farmer talking, is wearing his Farmer Review hat about collaboration and how BuildForce is creating this collaborative platform across the industry, which is very much trying to remove that element of competition, but adding value to existing activities. We will also have a representative from the Army, and we have our MC is also our chairman, who is Andy Parker from Morgan Sindall. There are actually, the invitations have pretty much been snapped up, but we have held a few back. So if there is interest in attending, please do just let me know, either directly or through Maria Catherine. So just talking a little about the tech. I love a question that I can't actually answer. So what we decided was spending a fortune on tech before we had fully defined the requirements wasn't the best option. CITB has its Go Construct page, and CITB, obviously through that, has its experience matching service. So we're talking to CITB, obviously as a major stakeholder and our funder, about that tech and how that tech could be adapted or integrated to meet the BuildForce needs. We're also talking to an organisation called VETS, which has come out of Barclays in the financial services sector. And VETS provides a UK-wide platform for military into all jobs, but at the moment, I'd say it's financial services focused. And they have some rather clever matching tech, which is, I'm John in Colchester and I want a mentor who lives in Manchester type tech. So the answer at the moment is it's going to be a little bit hard for us in the early days. January now is about us driving this message out across both the forces and the industry. So at the moment, what we have is for the service leaver, it's contact us, which is taking them to an opportunity to register with BuildForce. We've kept it very limited. It really is, we don't want to scare people off, but by registering with BuildForce at this early stage or recording their interest, what it then provides is the opportunity for us to send a little bit more detailed registration form where we're capturing the particular sector or trade that they're interested in. For example, is it business support, is it project management, is it consulting, etc. And also where they want to go and any particular needs that they have. So we have this as the registration facility. Idea being that we are now, over the next couple of months, defining the tech, seeking to enter into some partnerships and creating, and I think this is probably a really important message, and I'm glad you asked the question, Maria, and this is about a sustainable model. We're absolutely adamant we're not going to come to the end of the funding in December and say, that was good fun, thank you very much. What we're going to be creating, and indeed we started the process now, is a sustainable model. So the feedback we're getting is that it's preferably not a charity. We don't want to be seen to be helping those who are leaving the forces. It is a very professional approach we need to adopt. And we're going at the moment down a social enterprise route, securing the funding to maintain this service. But it is very much about BuildForce not being the block, but actually this platform where what we provide, for example, is some information about construction. So yes, at the moment it's linking to Go Construct, and we've got the BuildUK film up here, which for some reason isn't popping up. And then the last bit here is around resources. So this will not only help people understand maybe where they can go for recruitment, which is the new tab for us to be adding, but also a variety of case studies. At the moment, it's quite army focused because that's where we're getting the case studies from through our networks. But it's to understand if somebody might have been a captain in the Royal Signals, how that person has got to work for EY. So there is an absolute call here for anybody who is working in construction that has been in the military to fill in the case study template, get that to us, and what that then gives us is this whole opportunity to provide the resource which can then be pushed out to encourage more people to then actually come and join this amazing industry of ours.
I have got one last question, just a quick one before you go. If you could tell us exactly what the website is, just so we've got that on record, but also in a nutshell, what are your aspirations for BuildForce ultimately?
So the website, buildforce.org.uk. We will be creating a new version of the website by the end of the month. Aspirations. So I've got a little bit of a secret one, which I'm sure I shouldn't share on a public podcast, but hey, why not? So the first aspiration is that BuildForce becomes an exemplar for industry around a collaborative platform that connects existing activities, creates the opportunity for more activities to be created, adds value, joins the dots, and succeeds in raising the profile of the industry and getting people that might not consider coming to work in construction into a seamless opportunity to transition into jobs. So we become a standalone social enterprise, part of construction integrated, and providing this real continuity of career opportunity. And the second secret one, in fact, when I have the time, so you might have to cut me off, is that actually this is a model we can then use for other areas where there is underrepresentation, where there are disadvantaged groups that could do with benefiting from a platform that exists, which is about joining the industry together. So that's my sneaky little secret that I'll be working on as part of this piece about growing BuildForce to be an amazing opportunity. So I'll hand back to Maria just by saying, do get involved. It's the absolute more the merrier. For us to make this a success, we need everybody to join us. So thank you for listening, and please do get involved.
I feel like we've got some good exclusive information there. Thanks to everybody for listening. I'm just going to pass you over to Catherine finally, just to wrap up and just say where you can find this moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, and thank you everybody so much who's joined us today. Hopefully you've had some really good information and a chance to get your questions answered. I will circulate information following this, email addresses, website addresses, links to YouTube and things, excuse me, straight after this call. From next week, and I'm not going to commit myself to a day because I'm not mad, but from next week this will all be available as a podcast on iTunes, and I will send out the link. It will also be in 4 industry publications, so I will send out links to those as well. Hopefully you can join us next month. This is going to be a monthly thing. It will be the second Friday of every month from 1 o'clock. I can't reveal our February guest just yet, unfortunately, but suffice it to say, you're going to love them. If you know other people in the industry who are also passionate about change and who are really making things happen, please ask them to get in touch with us, either by Twitter or through Maria or I directly, because we would love to share the amazing things that are happening. So I'm sure you'll all join me in saying thank you to Rebecca for her time today. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope to virtually see you this time next month. Thanks very much, everybody.